Kevin Hart broke your stand-up box office record.
What record did he break?
He said he broke some record of your box office sales for stand-up.
I don't know. What did he break?
See, I seen your stuff on social media, boy. I know what you do, but you do it for play.
Eddie Murphy just lit a fire, and Kevin Hart's name is right in the middle of it. For years, Katt Williams has been out here calling Kevin everything but funny, saying he's an industry puppet, daring him to battle it out on stage, throwing wild jabs with zero filter. And guess what? Kevin's been quiet. Not a clapback, not even a slick joke. Nothing. The silence been screaming. People started asking, is Kevin Hart really ducking Katt? Or is there something deeper going on? Then out of nowhere, Eddie Murphy, the legend, stepped in. Now listen, Eddie don't usually get messy. He keeps it cool, stays far away from the drama, but when he does speak, the whole game pays attention.
When are we, or are we ever gonna see you on stage again doing stand-up?
I'm gonna do it again because I got to break Kevin's new record. I got to get back on the stage because this new record that Kevin got, I got to have it back, Kevin.
This ain't just some regular OG. This is Eddie Murphy, the blueprint for stand-up. When he moves, the comedy world shifts. So in this recent interview, they asked him about Kevin allegedly snatching his box office crown. Eddie didn't even flinch. No shade, no panic. Just pure facts. He calmly reminded the world that Raw is still the highest grossing stand-up concert film in history. And oh yeah, he hasn't even stepped on stage in almost 30 years. Flex alert. But then came the real heat. Eddie laughed and dropped a bomb. Now I gotta get back on stage cause I want that record back. Boom! It might have sounded playful, but that smirk, that tone, oh, it was loaded. Anybody who knows Eddie knows when he says stuff like that, it ain't just jokes, and it's a challenge. And here's where it hits Kevin hard. If Eddie's sliding back in the ring after decades, what's Kevin's excuse for not facing Katt? One comedy king just called out the throne, and the other might be looking over his shoulder. Kevin might be sitting on the throne right now, but what kind of crown is that really? And while he's out here shining, Katt Williams is still lurking, loud, unfiltered, and waiting for Kevin to finally face him.
What do you think a plant is? Maybe people don't understand the definitions of these words.
Kevin's whole image been polished for years. Squeaky clean, family-friendly, corporate safe. A poster boy for what the industry loves. But when a legend like Eddie Murphy starts side-eyeing that glow-up, things get messy fast. Suddenly, that perfect little empire Kevin built don't look so solid. People start asking real questions. And right when the cracks show, boom! Katt Williams comes crashing in, swinging with no mercy. He didn't just take shots at Kevin, he ripped the whole foundation apart. In interview after interview, Katt been saying it straight. Kevin didn't rise to the top because he was the funniest. He got picked because he was the safest. According to Katt, the industry didn't crown him based on jokes. It crowned him for being quiet, obedient, and never stirring up trouble. Katt labeled him an industry plant who climbed by playing it safe, not by standing out. And here's the part that had people shook. Katt brought receipts. He said there was a 5-year stretch where Hollywood was knocking at his door first. All those blockbuster roles Kevin ended up with, Katt had them offers before him. But there was a twist. They wanted Katt to coon it up, play roles that were straight up disrespectful or dipped in tired stereotypes.
I got a show at your hometown in Philly. I'm gonna take my special there. On that stage, we can put whatever you want. A full court basketball court, a boxing ring.
He said no. He walked away. Then out of nowhere, those exact same roles landed in Kevin's lap like clockwork. Coincidence? Katt says, nah, that was all by design. No hesitation now, Eddie Murphy slid in with that slick jab, basically saying Kevin's record don't even count for real. And just like that, Kevin's whole title as the king of comedy starts looking suspect. Like maybe it wasn't all grind and hustle, maybe it was more about quiet deals, industry favors, and playing it safe behind the scenes. And maybe that's the real reason Kevin stays far from Katt Williams. Not because Katt's wild, not because he's messy, but because Katt knows the game. He's seen the backdoor moves, heard the offers, and watched who said yes to what. Katt turned down roles that came with strings, while Kevin might have nodded and smiled. This ain't just about who's packing theaters anymore, it's about credibility, real talk. In Hollywood, where the powerful keep each other protected, the worst threat is someone who speaks too much. And right now, Kevin don't want Katt or Eddie speaking at all.
Kevin Hart broke your stand-up box office record.
What record did he break?
He said he broke some record of your box office sales in stand-up.
I don't know. Where'd he break?
See, Eddie's little comment about taking back the box office crown might have sounded like a joke, but let's be real. When Eddie Murphy makes a move like that, it ain't random, it's intentional. It shakes the room. When a legend like Eddie raises his brow at your success, people start digging hard. They start wondering, how did Kevin really make it to the top? Who pulled strings? What did he stay silent about to protect that empire? And once that curtain lifts, it don't drop back down easy. Now here's the kicker. One name keeps sliding into the shadows of this whole situation: Diddy. That wild party Kevin threw back in 2010. Location: Las Vegas. Purpose? A celebration? And guess who it was for? Diddy. Yeah, that Diddy. The vibes, the mystery, the questions, they're all circling back now. And Kevin wasn't just a guest at that wild Vegas bash. He was the one hosting it. At the time, it looked like your average Hollywood turn-up. Celebs, drinks, bass booming, lights low. But now, that same party footage is crawling back up online. And it's got folks looking twice. Especially one clip that's got people straight up disturbed. In that video, Kevin's in a dimly lit bathroom, packed tight with women in bikinis, candles flickering, music blasting, pure chaos in the air. Then suddenly, boom, one of the women's hair catches on fire for real. And Kevin, instead of freaking out or helping, he laughs. Like it's part of a sketch or something.
We heard of a comedian that came to LA, and in his first year in LA, he had his own sitcom on network television and had his own movie called Soul Plane that he was leading. No, we've never heard of that before that person or since that person. What do you think a plant is?
Everybody's just cracking up while smoke fills the room. No one runs, no one checks on her, just cameras rolling and people acting like it's a joke. It was bizarre, real weird energy. But it doesn't stop there. Another resurfaced clip from that same night shows Kevin staring right into the camera. But this time, he's not making jokes. He looks dead serious and warns the crew, "Don't film over there," while pointing to a certain spot in the room where Diddy's hanging out. No reason, no context, just a casual command to avoid that corner. But guess what? The camera does catch a quick glimpse of that area. And when the footage leaked online, it blew up. People instantly started speculating. What was going on back there? Why didn't Kevin want it filmed? And why did he sound so protective about it? It wasn't just curiosity. The whole clip gave off a weird vibe. Like something was being hidden. The secrecy, the caution, the energy. None of it felt right. Kevin was supposed to be the comic, the star of the night. But now, he's looking more like the gatekeeper to something way deeper. See, this wasn't just Kevin Hart popping in for a celeb cameo and bouncing. He was running the whole night. He wasn't just there. He was guiding the vibe, setting the tone, controlling the energy like a ringmaster. Kevin was the host, the face of that party. And he wasn't caught off guard by anything. He was comfortable in the chaos. He laughed when things got wild, stuck around when things got sketchy, and now that comfort is starting to raise red flags.
We want to thank you. Come here. Don't sit on the bed at night. No homo. No, just don't get close to the bed. Don't get close. But it's just like, yo, we want to thank you for hosting the thing, man. It's been a pleasure. You didn't have to do it, and you did it.
No, I definitely didn't have to do it. I definitely didn't have to.
Fast forward to 2024. Boom. Federal investigators dropped serious heat on Diddy. We're talking major accusations, saying he hosted so-called freak-offs, private, invite-only parties that were way past Hollywood wild. We're talking drugs, shady behavior, and stuff that ain't got anything to do with innocent fun. Lawsuits and testimonies started spilling out, painting a picture that's disturbing, dark, and way deeper than just VIP party life. Now, let's be clear. Kevin Hart hasn't been charged or accused of any crimes. No official allegations have linked him to illegal activities. But that's not what's making people side-eye him. What's got folks talking is the proximity. Kevin was right there, on camera, laughing, controlling the scenes, telling people where not to film. He wasn't some clueless background guest. He was deep in it. When things got strange, he didn't leave. He redirected attention. So when Kevin starts dodging questions now, brushing things off, or getting tight-lipped about his past with Diddy, it makes sense. That silence, it's loud. Especially when paparazzi pressed him directly about those ties, and he gave zero straight answers. Just deflections. Just silence. And when you match that with footage showing him in the room, on the scene, that's when people start wondering, what's really going on? And maybe, just maybe, that's the exact kind of shade Eddie Murphy was throwing. Not just about records or stand-up status, but about who's real and who's been quiet while standing too close to the wrong things. It's not just about Kevin Hart's accomplishments anymore. It's about what those accomplishments were really built on.
Yeah. The water was deeper though.
Came up, flame was gone. At that time, I was in panic. I had asthma. It was a difficult situation.
Was it talent and grind? Or was it a carefully planted image, backed by power and protected by silence? Because once that wild Vegas party footage started going viral, people didn't stop there. They started digging, and what they uncovered was a whole stack of red flags. Folks began rewatching old interviews, pulling up receipts, and revisiting all those shady chapters in Kevin's past. That shiny, clean-cut image, it started to crack. Kevin's always been sold as the hustle king, the ultimate family man comic with a spotless rep. But his history, way messier than most fans ever knew. Let's take it back to 2013. Kevin got arrested in LA for DUI. Cops said he was speeding and almost slammed into a fuel truck. He was clearly drunk, and to be fair, Kevin did own up to it later, saying he made a bad move. But that wasn't the last time his image took a hit. Fast forward to 2017, boom. A cheating scandal exploded. Kevin had just married Eniku Parrish a year earlier when a leaked video surfaced showing him in a compromising position with another woman in Vegas again. But this wasn't just another Hollywood affair. It got criminal real quick when someone tried to extort him using that footage. Kevin eventually posted a public apology, staring dead into the camera, admitting he made a bad error in judgment. That was his message to his wife and kids. But the pain cut even deeper when Eniku later revealed in a Netflix documentary that she was actually pregnant when it all went down.
Hey, Kevin, when you hosted for Diddy, did you catch any baby oil?
When I hosted for Diddy,
Yeah. Nah?
you asking the wrong person the wrong question.
So yeah, people are now asking, is Kevin really the hardworking icon he's marketed as? Or is that just the version they wanted us to see? And if that image starts slipping, everything he built starts shaking too. Yeah, that kind of betrayal hit deep. But Kevin's scandals didn't stop at cheating and DUI. Nope. The controversy kept stacking, especially when folks started digging into his past jokes and old posts. Back in 2018, the Academy announced Kevin Hart would host the Oscars, a major career moment. But before he could even celebrate, Twitter detectives went to work. They pulled out receipts, old tweets, and stand-up bits from the late 2000s, full of comments people called flat-out homophobic. And just like that, the internet exploded. The backlash was instant. Critics demanded an apology. But instead of owning up, Kevin stood his ground. At first, he said he'd already addressed it and wasn't about to say sorry again. But as the fire grew hotter and the pressure got unbearable, Kevin stepped down from the Oscars gig and finally posted a public apology on social media. But here's the real kicker. These incidents don't pop up in isolation. They follow a pattern, a familiar one. Kevin's usual move? Deny it, brush it off, act like it's old news, until the headlines get too loud and he has no choice but to respond. It's not just about messing up, it's about how he handles the mess. And to a lot of people, it screams damage control over accountability. The goal isn't always to make it right, it's to protect the brand, control the narrative, stay marketable. That's the real playbook. And if that wasn't enough, look at the company Kevin's kept over the years. He's not just any celeb, he's been moving through elite Hollywood circles, rubbing shoulders with power players, including Diddy, who's now caught in a storm of serious allegations.
The cop comes over, cop's like, license and registration, please. So Mike go, Buck, where's the registration for the cop? You know, he's got this African accent. Buck go. Man, you better get the fuck out of here. Stop talking to me, Mike. I don't know what shit. I don't know what nothing out, man.
From shady private parties to disturbing behind-the-scenes behavior that's got the whole industry nervous. When you surround yourself with controversy, even if you're not directly involved, people start to ask, why are you always so close to the fire? Let's set the record straight. Kevin Hart hasn't been accused of any crimes, but his name keeps circling back in convos about silence, protection, and staying way too tight with powerful people who got some very questionable reputations. And look, it's not always about who broke the law. Sometimes it's about who stays quiet while the mess goes down, and who benefits from that silence. And that's exactly what Katt Williams exploded about during his viral 2024 sit-down with Club Shay Shay. That interview? It wasn't some casual chat. It was a full-on expose. Katt unloaded everything he'd been holding in about the comedy industry. And guess who sat dead center in the middle of all that heat? Kevin Hart. Now, Katt made it clear, this ain't about jealousy or petty drama. It's about how fast Kevin rose to the top. According to Katt, that kind of overnight success in comedy, it just doesn't add up. Real comedians grind for years.
Did you think she wrote Girls Trip Goofball? Right. Or do you think that was already a script and they handed it to her?
They hit every grimy club, do small sets back to back, hop from city to city, building fans one joke at a time. That's the path. That's the struggle. But Kevin, he skipped the struggle. According to Katt, it was like he teleported to the big leagues. No grind, no hustle, just instant fame. And Katt didn't just toss accusations, he came with receipts. He started pointing out all the cracks in Kevin's origin story, especially the one painted in that Netflix documentary he did with Chris Rock. That doc tried to frame Kevin's roots as deep in the East Coast stand-up scene, like he came up from the dirt and earned his spot. But Katt was like, hold up, something's not adding up. Too many gaps, too many edits, too many questions. And when someone like Katt starts pointing fingers with details, it's not just shade. It's a direct challenge to the whole image Kevin's been selling for years. If Katt's timeline checks out, how was Kevin grinding on the East Coast and building his career in LA at the same exact time? It just didn't add up. And Katt wasn't asking just to be messy. He was calling out something that's been bothering a lot of folks for a while now. Katt didn't dance around it. He laid it flat out. It didn't happen, and that's when the word plant came into the mix. Not as some throwaway insult, but as a serious call-out. To Katt, a plant isn't just some internet slang. It's real. It means someone got placed in the system. Someone who didn't fight tooth and nail to get there, but got boosted behind closed doors. Handed roles, pulled into big deals, propped up with connections, and then served to the public like they earned it solo.
Been the humble guy. I have time to not be humble today. I have time to fact check everything he said because the world of Katt Williams is a fictional world.
No scars, no setbacks, no grind. Just polished stardom dropped in a pretty little PR package. And that's exactly how Katt sees Kevin's rise. All the movie roles, the record-breaking numbers, the major comedy takeover, Katt said it felt manufactured, not earned. Like Kevin didn't climb the ladder, he was placed at the top. And the wildest part? Katt didn't think he was the only one who noticed. He just happened to be the one bold enough to say it out loud while other comics stayed silent. Now, to be fair, Kevin has clapped back at these types of claims. In a 2014 interview with Oprah on Oprah Prime, she asked him point blank about folks saying his rise was too fast or too easy. Kevin didn't dodge. He said, "Hollywood makes everything look like an overnight success, but in reality?" He claimed he'd already been grinding for 18 years, paying dues, studying legends like Eddie Murphy and Chris Rock, but still, for some, the math don't math. And Katt? He's not buying the highlight reel version of Kevin's come-up. Kevin told Oprah that his house was covered in photos of comedy legends, and for him, that was his daily fuel. "What separates me is my drive," he said. "My drive is other people's success."
But I was actually one of those comedians that said, "No, I wouldn't wear a dress. There's no way."
Dave Chappelle and I said that they tried to make him wear a dress.
You have to have boundaries. You have to have limits that you refuse to cross. I know what they are. You got to know that you're a brand. You need to protect your brand at all times.
And then when proposed with the opportunity of what I felt was funny, nobody made Martin put on a dress and nobody made Tyler Perry. It was a choice that I made.
It sounded like the blueprint of a hardworking dreamer, and no one, not even Katt Williams, tried to take that from him. Katt never denied that Kevin worked hard. That was never the real argument. The issue was who helped Kevin leap ahead, what doors flew open early, and why those same doors stayed locked for everyone else. Most comedians grind for decades just to maybe get a shot, but when Kevin's fast-track rise hit a fever pitch, Katt stepped out and turned the temperature all the way up. And he wasn't just coming for Kevin. He came for the whole system. In that now infamous parking garage interview when someone tried to pin it all on beef or jealousy, Katt shut it down. "Nah, you asking the wrong person the wrong question." Katt didn't believe for a second that Hollywood was some magical place where the funniest just naturally rise to the top. Nah, in his eyes, it's a rigged game. A system full of behind-the-scenes gatekeepers. The ones who hold the keys, decide the fates, and shape the spotlight. And according to Katt, Kevin didn't just benefit from the game, he became one of the gatekeepers. To back that up, Katt brought up Kevin's tight connection to Tiffany Haddish, a name that blew up after Girls Trip and her viral moment hosting SNL. But long before the red carpets and movie deals, Tiffany's story was rough, real rough. Katt hinted that her success wasn't just about talent or timing. It was about who vouched for her and who had the power to push her name forward. And in his eyes, Kevin was part of the machine deciding who got through next. Tiffany Haddish has always kept it real about her come up, no sugarcoating. She's talked openly about being homeless, sleeping in her car, and doing whatever it took just to survive while chasing her comedy dream. In a 2018 Vanity Fair interview, she shared a moment that's often used to praise Kevin Hart. But Katt Williams, he saw it very differently. Here's what went down. Tiffany and Kevin were both performing at the Laugh Factory when Kevin realized she was living out of her car. So what did he do? He handed her $300 and told her to get herself a hotel for the night. Then he sat her down for a serious heart-to-heart. Kevin told her to write down her goals, every step, and chase them like her life depended on it. And according to Tiffany, that moment changed everything. She took his advice, got a motel, made her list, and started checking it off one by one. The roles she dreamed of, the actors she wanted to work with, the long-term vision. The industry loved this story. It became part of her glow-up narrative. But Katt, he wasn't clapping. During a fiery interview on V103's Frank and Wanda in the morning, Katt flipped the whole narrative. He didn't deny Tiffany's hustle, but he did question how fast Hollywood handed her the crown. To him, it didn't feel earned. It felt handed off. Katt reminded everyone that Tiffany had been doing stand-up since she was 16. But then he hit the crowd with this line that shut the room down. "You can't tell me your favorite Tiffany Haddish joke." And just like that, silence. His point? If someone's being called one of the top comedians, where's the material to back it up? Where's the signature bit? Where's the punchline that had the world talking? He pushed even harder, pointing out she hadn't gone on a major comedy tour or dropped a big stand-up special. So what made her a top comedian? Katt wasn't buying the hype, and he wanted everyone else to look past the packaging. To Katt Williams, none of it added up. He questioned whether Tiffany Haddish could even hold the stage solo for an hour. and even more, if she was writing her own material at all. To him, the industry didn't push her into the spotlight because she was fully ready. They pushed her because she was marketable. Period. And then, things got real tense. Katt flipped the table when he brought up how fast the industry threw Monique under the bus, a veteran with real chops, real accolades, while lifting up Tiffany right after one big breakout role. Did you think she wrote Girls Trip? Katt snapped. Or do you think that was already a script and they just handed it to her? That wasn't shade. That was a direct shot at the whole machine behind the scenes. Katt was calling out what he believed was a setup, a rapid rise built on vibes, not comedy foundation. Host Wanda Smith tried to step in, defending Tiffany by saying fans loved her because she was real, but Katt wasn't having it. Since when did being real become a marketable product? He clapped back. Then he threw in another twist, pointing out how Tiffany's public openness about her crush on white men, especially Brad Pitt, might have helped her climb faster in an industry still run by powerful old-school insiders. According to Katt, those little things mattered. That type of appeal, that type of positioning, it opened doors. But Katt wasn't just dragging Tiffany. He was putting the spotlight on a deeper issue. He pointed out how the industry keeps sleeping on black women comedians who've been putting in work for decades. He name-dropped Luanell, Miss Laura, and Melanie Camacho, women who've been grinding, touring, and tearing up stages, but never got the same love. They put in work, Katt said, but you don't see the industry lining up for them. That jab hit hard, and Kevin Hart, he wasn't about to let that slide. Not long after, Kevin pulled up on The Breakfast Club with Tiffany Haddish sitting right next to him, and he came out swinging, speaking directly to Katt. Kevin Hart didn't hold back when he clapped back at Katt Williams on The Breakfast Club. Sitting right beside Tiffany Haddish, he fired straight shots. You had the shot, you were set up to be the star, but you didn't show up to work. Kevin claimed Katt blew his own shot, missing promo shoots, skipping key opportunities, and moving too erratically for Hollywood to trust. You became a risk, Kevin said flat out. Then he flipped the whole narrative, accusing Katt of tearing down others instead of facing the truth about his own downfall. In Kevin's eyes, Katt fumbled the bag, not the system. He had the keys, but didn't use them right. But what made this back and forth different from typical Hollywood drama was how detailed Katt got in return. He wasn't just name-dropping to stir the pot, he was laying down receipts. Katt claimed that nearly every major comedy film Kevin starred in over a 5-year stretch, yeah, they were offered to him first, but he turned them down. And not because he was lazy or missed a call, it was on purpose. According to Katt, those roles leaned heavily into tired stereotypes. And worse, some scripts pushed humor that didn't sit right with him. Specifically, he said certain jokes leaned toward what he described as overtly sexualized content he wasn't comfortable portraying. Katt made it clear, I'm not against comedy, but I'm not gonna play into every joke they hand me just to get ahead. He said he wasn't willing to compromise who he was just to cash a check. No shortcuts, no masks, no clown suits for approval. He even claimed he tried to offer input, suggesting changes, tweaking dialogue, improving the material. But the studios weren't listening. They didn't want his ideas. They just wanted him to play along. To Katt, it wasn't about being difficult, it was about respect. And in his eyes, Hollywood had no interest in letting him shape the story. They just wanted him to act in it. The roles Katt Williams turned down, they didn't get reworked or rewritten. They just got handed straight to Kevin Hart, unchanged. And Kevin? He took them without hesitation. No edits, no questions, just signed on and smiled for the cameras. That hit a nerve, because it tapped right into something Katt had been calling out for years. The belief that some black male actors are quietly pushed or pressured into wearing dresses or playing exaggerated stereotypes to get laughs. Like it's some unspoken rite of passage in Hollywood. A trade-off. A way to earn your spot by sacrificing how you represent yourself. And Katt's not alone in thinking that. Even Dave Chappelle has spoken out on that exact issue. questioning why black comedians are so often asked to put on a dress for the sake of a punchline. When Scary Movie 5 dropped and Katt was doing press runs, that conversation roared back. Because at the same time, Kevin Hart had just appeared on Saturday Night Live in full drag, doing a sketch dressed up and playing it for laughs. To Kevin, it was simple, just comedy. He brushed it off as harmless fun, but to Katt? That moment meant something deeper. It wasn't about the dress itself, it was about what it symbolized. To Katt, it was a sign of how far someone's willing to go to fit in, to be accepted, to be rewarded by an industry that still plays by some very old rules. It was never about hating on Kevin's jokes. It was about what kind of comedy the industry celebrates, and who gets fast-tracked when they fall in line. That right there, that was the real fracture between them. In Katt's world, he didn't get pushed aside because he wasn't funny. He believes he got sidelined because he refused to play the game. He questioned scripts, said no to the roles everyone else jumped on, and most of all, he refused to stay quiet about the gatekeepers pulling the strings behind the curtain. To his credit, Kevin Hart stepped into a different role this time, not as a comic, but as the support system. He told Monique she wasn't just a fellow entertainer. She was like family, a mother, an aunt, a sister, all in one. And Kevin didn't stop at sweet words. He tried to actually help. He admitted he didn't really know Oprah like that, but he did have ties to Tyler Perry, and he promised Mo he'd reach out on her behalf. And according to Kevin, he did just that. After a deep, private convo with Tyler Perry, Kevin came back to Monique with what sounded like good news. He said Perry was finally ready to let go of the drama and move forward. Kevin took on the peacekeeper role, trying to squash old beef and rebuild burned bridges. He told her, "Let's leave all that negativity in the rearview, Mo. We got bigger things to accomplish together." Kevin positioned himself as the calm in the storm, the voice of reason pushing for unity, growth, and money moves. It looked like he was all about progress, not grudges. But Kevin didn't stop at pep talks. He put his wallet and name on the table too. In a sit-down interview with Shannon Sharp, Monique dropped some real bombshells about just how far Kevin went to back her up. She revealed that Kevin didn't just offer moral support, he offered to partner with her professionally. According to Mo, Kevin looked her in the eye and said, "Mo, I talked to Tyler. He doesn't want to reopen that chapter, but here's what we're gonna do." That moment right there showed Kevin was willing to move past the politics and take action, with or without Hollywood's blessing. Kevin looked Monique in the eye and said, "Forget the past. Let's build something. Whatever you want to do, I'll partner with you. I'll executive produce it. Just say the word." And it wasn't just talk. Kevin put real money behind his words. He even loaned her a serious stack of cash when she needed it. And Monique, she paid it back with interest. No drama, no shade, no public mess. Just clean business, handled like pros. But then, the story took a sharp left. After Kevin promised to help her reboot her talk show project, Mo was hyped. Who wouldn't be? Having Kevin Hart on board as executive producer could flip the whole game. So naturally, she called up her team at Endemol, the media powerhouse, and gave them the big update. She was excited, thinking this was her comeback moment. A real shot at turning the page with one of the biggest names in comedy right by her side. Everything looked like it was lining up. But then, plot twist. Just 2 weeks later, Monique gets a call from her own team, and it blindsides her. They tell her that Kevin's manager, Dave Becky, made a quiet phone call behind the scenes. And just like that, Kevin was out. No warning, no heads up, no reason. Cold feet. Just a total pullback out of nowhere. So Monique does what anybody would. She hits up Kevin directly, thinking there's gotta be a misunderstanding. She reaches out looking for answers, some clarity, something. And Kevin, he brushes her off smooth. "We'll talk Tuesday. Don't worry about it." But Tuesday never came. No follow-up, no explanation, just silence. And after all that support and big talk, that silence, it hit loud. Fast forward 2 whole years, and still nothing. No call, no update, no follow-up. Kevin Hart stayed silent. And here's where it gets messy. Fans started connecting dots, and a lot of folks weren't buying the cold feet excuse anymore. Some even started saying Kevin never truly planned to help Monique in the first place. That maybe all that support talk was just for optics. That maybe it was all about protecting his image. Then came the whispers, the online conspiracy talk. People started questioning if Kevin sold out to stay tight with the Hollywood power circle. You know the names. Oprah, Tyler Perry, the same ones Monique had been at odds with for years. And the theory? That helping her would have meant crossing them and risking everything Kevin built behind the scenes. His deals, his access, his throne. Whatever the real story is, one thing's crystal clear. Eddie Murphy shook the table. When Eddie Murphy, a living legend, the blueprint of comedy, questions your come up, that's not just a shady joke. That's a signal. A green light for the whole world to start asking questions. And once Eddie pulled that card on Kevin, it wasn't about followers, box office numbers, or Netflix streams anymore. It became about respect. And respect, once it slips, you can't buy it back. So now we want to know what you think. Did Kevin Hart play Monique? Was it just bad timing? Or was he protecting something way bigger behind the curtain? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We're reading everything. And don't forget, like the video, smash that subscribe button, share it with your crew, and turn those post notifications on. We've got way more heat coming. See you on the next one.